last week we talked a little bit about some of the more abstract portions of that, so why is it valuable and sort of thing. This week I'd like to give kind of some specific examples from my undergraduate education that show why it's valuable in addressing certain challenges that some courses have. So it's kind of a case study. I want to talk about my experience in an object-oriented programming class. This is basically one of the core requirements of any computer science major. So the first introduction to really writing kind of large projects and that sort of thing. There are a couple of specific challenges to it that are very particular to this course. So we're just going to kind of talk about what the challenges were, what problems they cause students to have, or what difficulties they cause students, and then how the interaction with the faculty resolve those issues. So one of the first challenges is since this was a requirement for every single undergraduate computer science major, you end up having these very large classes. So you're going to have a big lecture hall with 100 plus students in it. The main problem with this cause was that in addition to being a little harder to reach every single student, students might not feel comfortable asking questions necessarily. So you're going to find a lot of these little quick questions that would be easily answered, but students might not want to bring it up in front of a large class. So another challenge that you have here was that this is less of sort of a mathematical course and more of a skills course. Has anyone's ever tried to teach somebody how to write a link, for instance? It's kind of something that you saw practice and it's difficult to pass on. So that's another problem we have. Sorry, so the problem with that caused was that frequently people would sit in class and maybe follow the lecture well, but then when they actually wanted to try to sit down and do it, they found that, well, they thought they could follow everything, along very well. They didn't actually have the skills yet. So, as you'd say, missing skills or practice needed. And then the final challenge that we had was that a lot of projects were group-oriented, group projects. So you had to work together with teams of 3 or 4 or 5 people. And there's all sorts of issues with group dynamics, people getting along together and trying to work out schedules and that sort of thing. So the way the instructor addressed these was kind of a triage approach. So basically, immediately after class, we would remain up in front of the podium, wouldn't leave, wouldn't sit down, wouldn't even move. You'd say, okay, class is over, you'd stay sitting there until people came and talk to them. So frequently, you'd have like 5 or 6 students come up, quickly address the quick questions, and you see, somebody would ask a question, she would answer, and then, half of the group would say the same exact question. So some of these skills that were a little harder to pick up, people would go ahead and they try them, they won't be able to solve them, and then they might come up to me really after class and say, okay, I was trying this, it didn't really work out, we talked about this. And, frequently he was sort of, after you deal with quick questions, would go through and talk over some of these in a little more detail. Not in great detail, but again, frequently students would have the same issues, and talking with the small group would shake it out. If that didn't work, because office hours were immediately after class, and so you kind of take it offline and say, okay, we talk about this in my office in a few minutes. So. And then finally, to address issues of group dynamics and that sort of thing, during our large assignments, we would have periodic check-ins. So you'd say, okay, after 2 weeks, we'll have individual meetings. This group comes together with the instructors to talk about what jobs they're facing, how they're doing, that sort of thing. So there's kind of this constant back and forth between the instructor and the groups to make sure those issues didn't persist for too long before they were addressed. So, kind of on the spectrum from very, ad hoc to, very formalized and structured. We had these, different ways to progress or interact with the students to, help enrich their learning and also to, improve the course that you pass. And I was able to say, at the start of the next class, reiterate what had been brought to the last week to say, the following people, or the following questions were raised, I thought I'd mention it again, that sort of thing. So, in conclusion, encouraging contact between students and faculty is a good practice in undergraduate